Good morning. Today we're going to talk about how you can get your money working for you. I'm not being funny, but this does assume you're in a position where you have at least a bit of cash or some savings already. It doesn't have to be a lot, but by having that money, you've demonstrated one thing. You've demonstrated that you understand you can't spend yourself rich. So to get to this stage, you've already stopped spending money you don't have on things that you don't need. And you've reached that point where each month you actually spend a little bit less than you earn. Good for you. If you're at this point, you're actually doing very well, because we live in a society where, well, it's a consumer society. Every day you're bombarded with constant advertising telling you your life will be so much better if you keep buying things. Everybody wants you to spend your money so that they can get rich. Well, fair play to them. But what we're interested in is how you can get rich. Okay, so here I'm assuming you're managing to spend a little less each month than you earn. Where do you go from there? I know lots of people who are working very hard in the businesses, working for other people, doing 10-hour days, 12-hour days. But it's amazing how many of these hard-working people don't get their savings to work anywhere near as hard as they do. They're doing the 12-hour days, but their savings seem to be on a permanent holiday. The one thing I hear the most is, so what difference does it make if I spend 30 or 40 pounds here or there? It's just too small an amount to make any real difference to my financial future. Well, if you think that, you're wrong. It's because people think that a tenner here or £50 there isn't going to make any difference that they never get to the next level. Let me ask you a question, and I genuinely want you to think about the answer. If I gave you £10 now, how many times do you think you'd have to double that £10 to make £1 million? What do you reckon? Well, the answer is, if you started with a £10 note and you doubled it just 17 times, you would have an incredible £1.3 million in your bank account. Isn't that amazing? So clearly, once we have some money, it's vital to get that money working for us. To make money, you have to make your money sweat. And it should certainly sweat as hard as you do each day. In fact, why shouldn't your money sweat harder than you do? Now here's an interesting thing. How many savings plans do you know that will give you a guaranteed increase in the value of your money? I don't need half a dozen ideas, just one will do. The first thing you'll think of is your so-called bank or building society savings account. But these accounts don't guarantee an increase in your savings whatsoever. They actually guarantee a decrease in your savings. How can that be? Well, although it's true that the actual amount of money in your savings account at the end of the year will have increased in number, it will look as if there's more there, the actual spending power of that money, what you can actually buy with it, will have decreased thanks to inflation. Now dial tax into the deal and your money will have lost even more spending power. And don't get fooled by government statistics that suggest inflation is 2.1% or something. These figures are grossly misleading. They don't even take into account many of the things that you and I have to buy every week. So the longer you leave your money in a so-called savings account, the more spending power you lose. It's amazing when you think of the size of the financial service industry and how much those guys are making out of the deal, that you, the guy who's financing the whole thing, is worse off than before you started. That's no good to us when we're looking to double our money, not see it go backwards in value. Well, that's all for now. Get your calculators out and check those figures I gave you on doubling your money. And try this. Try it with just one penny that you picked up off the floor. Work out how many times you'll have to double that penny before you have £1 million. I promise you, you'll be amazed at the answer. See you next time. Bye.